Hey all, it's Nim, or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and welcome to Bite Sized MMORPG. It's a series where I break down complex in-game systems, player behaviors, and mechanics into easy to understand, and more importantly, easy to implement chunks. Today we're doing professions, but before we get into that, I stream on Twitch Saturday through Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In World of Warcraft, there are different progression systems, from leveling to artifact systems. We have the weapons in Legion. Battle for Azeroth gives us the Heart of Azeroth, their reputations, honor level, conquest, arena rankings, and the subject of today's video, professions. So think of professions as a set of flavor elements that have some gameplay effect. You as a character can have up to 2 main professions at a time, and they can be unlearned if you wish to change professions. So to help out, here are the professions in alphabetical order, along with a short description of what they do. Here we are at Alchemy Needs. This is where we learn our alchemy at, and if we could go inside, we can see our herbalism supplies, alchemy supplies, an NPC, and of course, with that green text, alchemy trainer, Lissa Nightbreeze will teach us alchemy. Now, this character already knows alchemy. Its 2 professions are alchemy and herbalism. So, alchemy mixes potions, elixirs, flasks, oils, and other alchemical substances into vials using herbs and other reagents. Your concoctions can restore health, mana, enhance attributes, or provide any number of useful, sometimes not so useful effects. High-level alchemists can also transmute essences and metals into other essences and metals. And that transmutation is unlocked later in the game. But for a basic bite-sized thing, think of this as, you need healing potions, you're alchemist. You want some potions to buff you, alchemist. You want combat bonuses? Alchemist. You want some fun stuff to mess around with? Alchemist. Our next profession is blacksmithing. Blacksmiths craft various melee weapons, mail and plate armor, and other useful trade goods like skeleton keys, shield spikes, and they can also make various stones to provide temporary physical buffs to weapons. Basically, if you're a plate-wearing class, such as warrior, paladin, death knight, maybe think about picking up blacksmithing. Our next profession is enchanting. Enchanters imbue all manner of equipable items with magical properties and enhancements using dusts, essences, shards. They're all gained by disenchanting or breaking down magical items that are no longer useful or acquired for that specific purpose. Enchanters can also make a few low-level wands as well as oils that can be applied to weapons, providing a temporary magical buff. Now, in recent years, enchanting has kind of taken a hit, as you used to be able to enchant basically every piece of gear you had. The developers thought that that was too much. I don't know particularly why, but they thought it was too much, so they toned it down. In current content, i.e. at the time of recording, Battle for Azeroth, you're really only going to enchant your rings, and if you are a gatherer, you will enchant your hands with some type of faster gathering. Engineering. Engineers craft a wide range of mechanical devices, including trinkets, guns, goggles, explosives, and mechanical pets. They also make a few one-off items that are fun to use, like rocket boots. So keep that in mind if you want to pick up this profession. Our next profession is herbalism. Herbalism allows you to harvest herbs found throughout the world and on the bodies of some creatures. You can detect herbs on the mini-map via yellow dots, small little yellow dots. Also, herbalism pairs well with alchemy. That's the profession combination I'm using. I am an herbalist and an alchemist, and I find that very helpful for raids, mythic pluses, and other general content, so I can always have flasks that have double duration, and I can make my own consumables. Our next profession is inscription. Inscriptionists inscribe glyphs that modify existing spells and abilities for all classes. In addition to various scrolls, staves, playing cards, and offhand items, a scribe can also create vellums for the storing of an enchanter's spells, and scribe-only scrolls used to teleport around the world, albeit a tad randomly. Also, it teaches you the milling ability, which crushes herbs into various pigments that are used for the scribe's ink. In current content, i.e. Battle for Azeroth as time of recording, your inscriptionist will create your tomes and your codexes that let you change your abilities so you don't have to visit a rested area. They're very useful to have, and every guild should have at least one. Next up is jewel crafting. Jewel crafters cut and polish powerful gems that can be socketed into armor and weapons to augment their attributes, or fashion into rings, necklaces, trinkets, and jeweled headpieces. It also teaches you the prospecting ability, which sifts through raw ores to uncover the precious gems needed for your craft. Now, in current content, as of time of recording again, Battle for Azeroth, gem sockets are not fixed. So when you get a piece of gear, it can roll and have a socket. That socket is extremely powerful, and thus jewel crafters will always have work. But there was a time in the past in the game where sockets were fixed. So you would always have continuous work, and it would be a decent way to make a little bit of money. Again, a guild should have a jewel crafter, maybe not more than 1 or 2. Our next profession is leatherworking. Leather workers work leather and hides into goods such as leather and mail armor, armor kits, and some capes. Leather workers can also produce a number of utility items including large profession bags, ability augmenting drums, and riding crops to increase mount speed. Now, what I do want to mention here is that a lot of the stat augmented items that are mentioned are not currently usable at the gear level outside of the content it was created for. So, for example, in Battle for Azeroth, you can't use leg armor kits. I believe they stopped doing that back in Cataclysm. So that's something to keep in mind if you decide to choose to be a leather worker. Next up is miners. Miners mine ore, stones, and raw gems from protruding veins or deposits. Also, it does teach you how to smelt as a sub-profession, which allows the use of a forge to smelt the ore into bars of metal. You can detect nearby ore deposits on the minimap in the same way an herbalist can detect nearby herbs on the minimap. It'll be a yellow dot. This pairs well with engineering and blacksmithing. Our second to last profession is skinning. Now, skinning allows you to skin the corpses of certain creatures for their hides, leather, and scales. As a general rule, you cannot skin humanoid enemies. That's just something Blizzard decided. There are a few exceptions there, but you generally cannot skin humanoids. This pairs best with leatherworking. And last for our primary professions, tailoring. Tailors sew cloth armor and make many kinds of bags using dye, thread, and cloth gathered from humanoid enemies during your travels. Tailors can also fashion nets to slow enemies with, rideable flying carpets, and magical threads which empower items they are stitched to. Since patch 8.0.1, they have been able to craft bandages, as there used to be a profession called first aid that was rolled into tailoring. I will say that as of current content, being able to empower items with magical threads is less of a thing. You will be basically making bags as a tailor. And again, it's good for a guild to have 1, maybe 2. That way you can get bags made cheaply and effectively. These professions can be learned from various trainers all throughout Azeroth, and as an added system change, each expansion has its own profession leveling, so you can just jump right into the relevant content for your character without having to start at the very beginning and work your way up to current content. There are also secondary professions. Your character can learn all of these at the same time, so there's no need to play a game of learning and unlearning. Here they are in alphabetical order. We'll start off with archaeology, with a little nod to a famous actor there. Archaeologists unearth and reconstruct valuable artifacts from cultures across Azeroth and beyond, often earning unique and mysterious rewards. You can get mounts, pets, and a few odds and ends from this. Again, with a nod to a famous person, we have cooking. Cooking combines ingredients into delicious food that can restore health and mana and provide temporary buffs. These buffs can increase most any attribute, and some give you unusual passive abilities. Also, this teaches you the ability to create campfires, which are usually required to cook, especially out in the wild. Now, if you're in front of an oven, in an inn or something, usually the game will let you cook there. Our last secondary profession is fishing. Fishers fish from lakes, rivers, oceans, and more using a fishing pole. The items you can fish up can be anything from kind of junk to treasures to even rideable mounts, and there's a couple of them out there. So there we have it. All the professions you can acquire, what they do, why you should have them, and a couple of notes on current content. That being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe, do other metric increasing behaviors. My name was Nim, or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, keep gaming, and enjoy life.